All right. Let's go. It's me, Puddle Cakes, and I'm here to bring you a video that's going over little duels with Shinchi and I the other day, and to see if Sid and YSG are any better or viable. Um, I have Sid. I do have Sid in my museum. I have done 4 commanders. I'm actually thinking about doing Barca next, even though people will make fun of me for it. But Ethelfled, YSG, El Cid, Mehmed, and endless opportunities. Won't do infantry, probably won't do any calves. So probably either Barca or maybe Frederick or Caesar, but we'll see. Now, one of the reasons why we did a video like this is because you see all over. You see like nonstop. You see people saying Sid is the worst decision. Sid is the worst choice. Sid is bad. Sid is useless. So I kind of did this more for science, but at the same time, I'm going to unlock the archers anyways. That's what I do. That's what I play. So first of all, we wanted to see how Rams and Sid did versus Rams and Sid. No equipment, same Ottoman, no skins, no nothing, just pure fighting. And I'll speed it up a little. You know, on my other program, I can actually make it go faster. But as you can see here, like most of this fight, I'm doing more white damage. Like he's actually taking more. I noticed that right away. Another thing that I noticed a little bit is you almost see like Sid's secondary skill hit more often. Not more often, but right after the primary skill. I don't know if that's meant to happen, but it would be cool if it did because it would make the skill more viable. So you saw there, I won. And of course, a lot of it has to do with the fact that I have 10% more attack and 11 or 150 more damage for my skill. But realistically, 10% attack really shouldn't be that big of a difference. I wouldn't think. That's a pretty big difference. So if we go into here and go through here to show you that fight, you can see the troop buffs are legitimately just 10% attack, which is here, and the 150 more damage. So it's not like we did anything different. It's not like this makes any difference. It's just, it is what it is. All right, so let's go to the second fight. Now, the second fight was actually him using Ramses Cyrus. Yeah, I was pretty stoked. There's me taking off my equipment because I was gonna do Cyrus next, but or Cyrus Sid, but instead we went Ram Sid versus Rams Cyrus. So with a Ram Cyrus, you've got a lot more damage going on. Cyrus just always pumping out damage, and it's it's one of the newer commanders. What do you expect? So I mean, he also makes it so there's less skill damage taken, and there's a bunch of other stats. So realistically, you figure that no matter what, they should win. As you can see here, Come on, Ramses. Catch your skill. It's like I swear there's extra damage from the Cid all the time. There's a 484, 484, 104, 596, 540. So it's like almost like Cid's skill is going off. Like before it was just random. I did like 100 different battles, and I swear it does more often now after the primary skill. See, look at that. Look at that again. It was right after. So little little confusing, not sure. So as you can see here, the only reason he has more stats is because or more attack because Cyrus adds a lot of attack, but I have more defense because Sid adds defense. So my defense is 25% more and his attack is only 18% more, but it's just that pure skill damage output that really messes it up. Um ended up oh yeah. So this match I was actually pretty happy with and impressed with because so this is Cyrus Sid. So I've been talking about doing Cyrus Sid for a little while because it debuffs and disarms. Uh, I haven't done Sid Cyrus yet. I thought about doing that too. I really should have, but I was more paying attention to the fact that he is Ram Cyrus and we're doing this, right? A lot of the times, Shinchi and I make videos and we have a concept or an idea and we just go with it. We don't really plan out because we just really love the game and we like to play it pretty much. All right. So we end up winning there barely. But keep in mind, this is an El Cid. It's an El Cid. So let's go in here and we'll look at this a little bit more. We'll look at the troop buffs. 132% attack to 123.5. More stats across the board. In the battle log, you can see my random damage skill went off right away. We actually casted one turn faster. So we hit our skill first, which then made it so our Cid casted disarm next, pushing back some white damage. So really, just gonna lag out on me. So let's see here. It's like example is what the heck is it? Doesn't show it good enough. We need to go down to this one maybe. Yeah, so look at this. So on this one, you see here, damage. So this is Sid, El Cid's famous warrior going off. Man, I'm an idiot. So that was the second turn. So Sid's yeah. So Sid's damage going off. They cast their skill. Now up here, you look at it, casted the skill, the damage hit then. You look here, casted the skill, put it 1 second back. Which then, oh no, that was Ramses' skill. Man, I'm terrible. No, that was right. So it actually pushed the skill back 1 turn. So that's kind of neat. I think it's neat. It makes El Cid seem useful in that aspect. But one thing we didn't do, which I really wish we did, is I wish we would have done Cyrus Cid, but let's keep going a little bit. I don't want to make this video too long. So then I do a bunch of other setups. He did Ramses YSG, destroyed me. I tried different builds, did more of a skill tree. It did a little bit better, but not much better. And every time I did a fight with Cid secondary, we actually had more stats. Like we had more attack or more defense or more health total in the long run. I tried a Monotori with Cid because I was hoping that that would make it cast even more, but the sheer damage output was just too high. We tried, as you can see, we tried Gilga because we were hoping that maybe Gilga lowering the health would make Cid hit harder, but as you can see, it didn't work out because Gilga doesn't actually have a whole lot of damage. It's more like tanky per se. We tried the Cid Nebuchadnezzar, but like Neb's damage wasn't high enough. Like it seemed like it was okay, but Neb also just doesn't do a whole lot of damage. It's there, but not spectacular. So we gave up on that one. Now, here's the one that is actually going to surprise people the most, I think. And I want to talk about it more. Is the Sid YSG. Now, I didn't think this was going to work. I mean, yeah, you are getting the Sid buff. Yeah, you are getting the YSG buff. But in the long run, I mean, this is still a two Gen 1 commanders, right? Still two Gen 1 commanders. And I just keep looking at it, and it's like, so you watch. So the disarm hits, and my white damage taken goes down. So watch on the next disarm. So disarm now. It went down to 187, and then actually pushed it will push his skill damage back a turn sometimes, or his rage gen, because you're losing half of your rage generation by losing out on that attack because you're only getting counterattack damage. So I sad faced him because you have arguably one of the best marches in the game for archers. I think a new guy that I've been watching on YouTube, he said that Rams YSG's number 2 best archer march. I've watched Wick, I've watched everyone. Best archer march, best archer march, best archer march, top 5, top 3. So like the way I look at it is like, did I just beat that with 20% more stats? So I found that super interesting. I will go into the report a little bit more here just to show, but that makes me think that I need to start doing some rematches with Cid first. But I really wish that archers would get like a massive nuke for a secondary for like Ramses, because Ramses would be disgusting then. But so we'll go look at buffs. At 11% more archer attack, a lot more defense, 1% more health. Must be my tree setup. Yeah, the skill tree. So like the stats are there mostly because you've got it, not in that one. You've got your stats in here, and then YSG has stats somewhere, doesn't he? Oh, maybe not. No stats. That's right. And then just here. So 10, 10, 20 defense. So that's all of it right there. And the skill tree. So then when we go to the battle log, you have your normal white attacks. On turn 6, I think think his YSG skill procced. Yeah. So it procced, making it so I took more damage. So that's why at the start, it looked like he was actually in the lead because he had that extra damage proc right away. So here you can see I hit on turn 8. And I hit for 1601. Whoop-de-doo. I hit for 1601. Not a whole lot of damage, but it's damage. Famous warrior. So yeah, not an insane amount. Now the next turn, his skill goes off, but as you can see, the white damage I took minus. His Ramses hits. On the next turn, does so much damage there, and my Poem of El Cid hit, my YSG skill hit, and all of the buffs hit. So I ended up hitting for 5281. His YSG then ends up hitting for 3877, and I think he also got a buff when I was looking at it too. Maybe, I don't know, but he still hit me for really hard. I mean, 2278, and I just hit him for 3023. Why is mine higher? Like his should be technically higher because he lowered my defense. That's awkward. But so now another thing to look at is I disarmed and I'm skill tree with Cid. So I actually cast on turn 14 now. And I cut down his damage and his rage gen on turn 15. And my YSG ends up casting again on turn 16. He doesn't actually end up casting now until turn 19 because I stopped his rage generation for a half turn. Now, then my Cid's already hitting on his next YSG hit. So I've casted 3 skill turns in almost the amount of time that he did 2. It's pretty crazy. I kind of like the setup. I'm thinking that I might use Sid and YSG a little bit more. A lot of people might say, well, maybe it was RNG, maybe it was this. Yes, it is pretty RNG with his one skill. He's not like the best, and he doesn't have a lot of damage, but what he brings is utility. And if you're doing a full archer march, that is going to be to have that support set up. Maybe a Cid Cyrus might be good, or a Cid with a huge rage gen secondary might be good, or a Cid Nebuchadnezzar with well, not Cid Neb, because that's basically like 2 support tanks on the field. Even though Neb can AoE, but it just makes you think about all these different things you can do. And like I said, I have no equipment. I basically took off all my equipment on my tests. I did do a YSG med test in there. It was terrible. I mean, you basically do it for the AoE anyways. I did Ethelfled YSG, did terrible. I did Artemisia YSG, and interestingly enough, the Artemisia YSG was doing well. Where did the fight on it go? Was doing well, but he got more heals. I don't know what happened there. Maybe the video skipped or something. We tried Edward YSG. I even switched to skill tree. Oh yeah, so here's that. I think this is that. This might be Artemisia. Oh, it's YSG, I think. But you'll see here that I'm actually doing really well. And hitting him for a whole lot. Like in that first hit, I was way above. In the second hit, I was consistently above again. And I'm like, ooh, this is looking pretty nice. And it got to this point, right in here. And so you can see sorry, I'm staring. Like I was above, and then he got like 2 heals in a row. It may be only plus 181, but when you have that little troops left, plus 181 is huge. I got a plus 60, a plus 56. I was like, oh man. And then he got a 116. So it's like that Ramses heal really came through at the end. I was pretty upset about it. Pretty disappointed. But it is what it is. So in the long run, are the Cid buffs bad? Sorry for my squeaky chair. Are the Cid buffs bad? Yeah, they're pretty bad. But does that mean that Cid is useless? I don't think so. Like I still used Cid before. So for me, like 10% attack and 150 damage, that's a huge buff. And I mean, if you watch a lot of my well, if you watch our videos like from Fleisch and other people that post from our Osiris League, I still use Sid and YSG. And a lot of it is because of that disarm. You know, when you're swarming of Zenobia and you're disarming and that attack damage is so high, that is huge. That is huge. Especially when it's attacking something. You know, you're basically putting Cid, Cyrus, Ramses, and everything on it, and it's just debuffing it so it does less skill damage, less attack, less defense. It's still a huge necessity, and I think it's overlooked. So, in my opinion, I think Cid is still a good investment. I think if you're trying to be a 5 March player or a 4 March player, and you're looking at, you know, taking a little bit of time and unlocking Cid rather than 500 sculptures for, you know, a Saladin and then 500 more for a William, you know, this is an option. It still is. So, you know, if you have any questions, hit me up anytime. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll do more testing with Cid and probably YSG here soon. I'm hoping to get Barca, and then we'll go from there. Thanks for stopping by. Peace.